Hi everybody, it's Chris here from the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Always Smile and Face podcast on the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. I'm not going to even beat around the bush on this one. Decker, You've already done it this week, but say it again, mate.
Well, when you know.
Yeah! As finally. I said the other night, mate, long time coming. It's finally happened. Obviously, it's the game where I'm not there. Always going to happen. Always going to happen. But you were there, Mark.
I was, yeah. Can you not come ever again? I mean, I do enjoy your company while we're there, but
that sounded a little
it's the results. The results are unfortunately more important than us sitting having a little cuddle when we're scoring that.
Did you miss me cuddle though?
I did.
Did you?
Oh, you really meant that as well.
Oh yeah, that was genuine.
There's a lot of passion going into our embraces.
That's nice. I like that.
It's better than that.
He didn't hug me when we scored. We scored 3 goals. He didn't come near me when I sat next to him.
It's giving him little slide digs in the ribs and that.
Yeah. So there's a few comments straight away. People still buzzing off that result.
Good.
Decker, we spoke about a little bit on details after the match on Saturday evening there. Bessie, where you at? Oh, you were in Wales.
I was in Wales. I didn't.
So you missed it as well.
I literally didn't see. I saw about 5 minutes in the second half. Yeah. So I wasn't just in Wales. I was in a part of Wales where there's just no signal whatsoever. It was proper remote.
I'm glad to see that we're living up to this false narrative that podcasters don't attend matches.
Sometimes it's not very often we miss games. Let's be honest with you.
I've been twice this season.
Have you?
Get him off! Get him off!
West Ham and Tottenham.
Yeah.
Best. Well, me and Mark were there, so that was okay.
Yeah, you two were there. Mark, just sum it up. Like, not just obviously what it meant at full time, but the atmosphere during the game.
It was brilliant. Like, just from start to finish, everybody was just well up for it. The noise, the amount of chants that were going in. And for a long time, there's been like pockets. It's always the corner, isn't it? The corner always starts off the songs, and then there's little people that join, not little people, like little groups of people that join in. But honestly, at the weekend, there was songs breaking out from all over the place, and like there was times where literally the whole ground was singing, which it very, very rarely, if ever, happens. And there's been certainly a limited amount of times in the last 14 years where that's definitely been the case. But from start to finish, and even like the biggest thing was like you say at the end of the match, people are piling out normally. Can it wait to escape? I would say 90% of that ground was still in there at the final whistle and applauding and still singing at that point. And it was thankfully applauded by the players and by the coaching staff. And it just summed it all up. It just brought everybody really together to celebrate that moment, because let's face it, it's been a bloody long time coming. Yeah,
we've got plenty to go through tonight, so we will just quickly touch on the game. Like I said, me and Decker did cover this quite a bit the other night. Decker, we've spoke about players coming in and likes of people that didn't watch what we did. Lascelles straight back in the team, but I was quite thankful that he came in the team at the end of it, because he's had a decent game, doing what Lascelles does best, to be honest, just heading the ball away.
Yeah, well, in fairness, I know we talked about the other day. I did say that he's kind of horses for courses with him a little bit, where if there's certain opposition that are going to be physical, tall, just lumping in the box, Lascelles is probably a man for that, because he's great in the air, let's be fair to him, and he won pretty much everything you could win. There was a few shaky moments, but you're playing a Premier League game of football, there's always going to be shaky moments, really. But I thought there was a few times, I don't know if you've seen, well, you wouldn't have, but I don't know if Mark's seen, if Eddie Howe...
Just get that little dig in again.
No, Eddie Howe, was dragging him over and was telling him, bits and pieces, bits of information. Then Lascelles was running back and giving out orders. So I felt that he was talking to the back line a little bit more. In fairness, I must admit I was in the bar area at the time, but apparently when his name was read out on the tannoy, people booed. Like, when they announced the starting lineup.
Did they?
My mate said it was terrible because he was in the ground earlier than normal, and he says he was like in his seat and that, just chatting to his father, and he says they went through the team sheet and he went number 6 Jamal Lascelles, and everyone booed. So
was it boo or was it a groan?
He said boo. I mean, listen, I wasn't there, but I'm just taking his word for it.
I mean, to be fair, I was in the ground much earlier than I normally am.
Surprise.
It was 5-3, so like it did actually get to see the display and all of that kind of thing, which we'd normally miss because we're diving in at the last minute. But
been good this season, mate.
Yeah.
We have been good. We have been taking the atmosphere in this season before kick-off, because like you said, we're normally rushing in few seconds after kick-off.
That's what it's normally more tempting to stay in the boozer, isn't it, than go to the game, but that certainly hasn't been the case the last couple of weeks. But
and Lascelles was the last one out as well, which I thought was
I've got to admit, I was disappointed not to see Fernandez on the team sheet. I half expected it, in all honesty, but like as you have just said there, Lascelles was magnificent. There's no other way around it. He, like you've just said there, Dak, he was talking to the back four, he was organising them, he was pointing, which I haven't seen that from him from a long time. It's been very much that lack of leadership, the lack of organisation that's been cause of a lot of problems at the back end. He seemed to have that little bit of spark back, so I don't know whether that having that week out and seeing Fernandez coming in and putting in a great performance, whether that's just gave him a little bit of a kick up the backside, the performance that we've had in the last couple of games, and it's so hopefully we're at a bit of a turning point with him.
Yeah, Bestie, obviously, like myself, you weren't there. Does it hurt a little bit?
No. The worst thing, rather than watching them win, something I was a little bit surprised by how many people on Twitter and Facebook and everything else have said how good the atmosphere was, because I really wasn't expecting it would be. You think it's been 2 months since the takeover, the form hasn't improved. It's been 3-4 games since Howe came in. Form has improved a little bit, but it hasn't exactly been a kind of explosion of 3 points here and 50. So I thought, it's really promising to hear that, because it means that maybe people are in it for the long run, which obviously they would be anyway. But like, even that Tottenham game, which was last time I was there,
last season,
5-1, 5-1 when Rich scored. I'm sorry, 7-1 actually when Joe Royle's last, not Joe Royle, the Keegan's last game. That was Leeds.
I digress.
But like that Tottenham game, the way the atmosphere had died off really quickly. Like it was fantastic before kick-off. Callum Wilson scored that early goal, and it was like pretty. And then all of a sudden, Tottenham killed the game pretty early on, and I was worried that might, on a larger scale, over the course of a few months, people would go like getting the doldrums and we're shite here. But it's lovely to see kind of how many people were saying that what you said, Mark. It's the best atmosphere they can think of for a long time. I would like him in my imagination. It's a bit like I'm going to say Rafa's last game, Liverpool one. Just because that's the game it was, where it was like that 3 when they beat with 3-2, and the stadium was bang up for it. I mean, there was Liverpool fans all over the shop, but the atmosphere was phenomenal. That's the best I can remember for a long time, probably since Barnsley in the Championship.
I think you're at the Spurs game, the one where obviously the takeover had happened.
Yeah,
that opening 10 minutes or so was incredible.
It was.
I mean, just ridiculously amazing. I felt that on Saturday, certain parts in the first half, that was due to the performance as well. It was quite flat, and it was hard, really, to be honest, to get behind, because it was such a poor opening of the game. I mean, the referee's giving free kicks left, right, and centre. Oh, you sure? I thought you wanted to tell us something. There was the referee was giving free kicks for nothing, which was then making Burnley take the time, lofting it in the middle, and we were losing the ball. And there was a real sense, that's not a problem necessarily, but sometimes when we haven't had the ball for a few minutes here, and then we get it, especially if Shane gets it, by the way, the crowd are just alight. And I think sometimes, it doesn't help us sometimes in the sense of we just rush forward. The second the player passes back, it happened again the other day. I just wanted to keep the ball for a few minutes. And so I think Willock went backwards and everyone groaned. I'm like, let's just keep the ball. Like, we don't have to immediately be in their box and try and score a goal. Like, let's just keep the ball for a few minutes. But
I think that must be a different end of the ground.
But I'm sitting directly opposite of where you sit, so I
Right.
can imagine, because when I sat with you the Brentford game,
Yeah.
it was non-stop, right?
Yeah.
It was just great. Where I was sitting though was a different kettle of
Yeah.
fish. It was honestly different. It was very,
So what you're saying
I
is
wouldn't say
the
negative,
Leicesters is shit.
Well, I wasn't the Leicesters. To be fair, I was the left of the Milburn, to be honest. That's where I was, yeah. And I'm not saying the atmosphere was shit. I just mean, like, I just felt every time we got the ball, the people that I was around were like, right, let's go and score now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, calm down. Like, you're
Yeah.
just getting the ball, man. Do you know what I mean?
The atmosphere is funny, but it depends on where in the ground you are. Because there's times when I come up for the match and think, God, I've not heard the away fans. Or I think we had it with George when he was on, saying, Christ, I've not heard the away fans today. And then you hear, like, you watch Match of the Day, and that's all you can hear is the away
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're in the corner.
Yeah.
Or, well, we all are. 1, 2, 3 with not so much like, but and you don't hear. And I can't see the away fans where I am because I'm right in the very back row. Like,
Yeah, you've got
where
the
the
lip
corner
on the
meets
roof, haven't you?
East Stand, so I don't know if the sound just kind of goes over the top of us or what, like, but
Yeah.
I never ever hear the away. Seldom. Man United I hear
was-
sometimes. Sunderland I generally hear because when they're in the same division as we.
Yeah, there was a
But,
couple of times where they did burst into song, but
Yeah.
like I'm the same. You rarely hear the away
Yeah.
fans unless it's a very full end and the very vocal, which
I had
has
a
been
very
few
full end on
times
the
of it.
way here. Like, I've got my underpants on as well. I was worried for a second. Like, oh God.
But no, like from like literally the entire game, like the Gallagher end never stopped, and
Well, we were out of sync with a lot of, if I'm being really honest.
Yeah.
You were starting chants, and when you had already finished it and they were still trying to sing out.
it's that ripple effect, isn't it, as it comes around the
Talking
ground.
about chants, Big Joe's got his own chant now.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
brilliant,
What is it, Mark?
brilliant.
He doesn't know.
I do know it.
Go on then.
Is it some might
It's
say? I'm not.
no, it is an Oasis song.
So she's
It's
electric in it.
he's Brazilian. He only cost 40 million. We think he's fucking brilliant. It's Joe Linton.
I like
Well
it.
done,
to be
great.
fair.
Well done,
I've
Mark.
seen
Great, well
I've seen
done.
people put the words
Well
to
done,
it
Mark.
online over last week, and I thought, what's the tune? I can't work. 'Cause I hadn't heard
she's
it.
electric.
And I put it on Twitter, the search function thing that I have. It was a video of some lads on the back of a bus singing it, but it's the most out. I thought I can't even there. I'm listening to that, and I was a massive Oasis fan when I was a kid. I don't know. I can't recognise that, and it was only when I read it and someone says, she's electric. I thought, oh yeah, cool.
I didn't know until he said it so well.
Yeah.
It's it was funny, like, because it started in the back of the corner, and like the first couple of lines people got, and then it was like, right, what are they saying for like
Yeah.
the third and fourth, and then after a few more rounds of it, like it just was getting bigger and bigger, and more people were picking
It's
it up.
like
but
that Christine Atsu song. I don't think I ever learned the lyrics to
Yeah.
that. Like, I just couldn't figure it out.
That was an old
Was that
Celtic
Scooter
song.
song?
Scooter Celtic
Aye.
sang it for
Scott Sinclair, I think it was.
that's the fella.
That wasn't Scooter, man. It was
What Scooter?
Was good. The tune.
It is Scooter.
it wasn't
Logical song.
It was Super Champion.
Nah, it's Scooter Logical song. 100%.
Well, I'm sure that's the logical song by Supertramp. I know.
Nah, Scooter.
Slash Scooter.
Yeah, I do think it's good.
Slash Scooter.
Definitely Scooter.
He's the
Fucking
DJ.
heathen.
He's the DJ. He is the
We have
DJ.
to bout the knowledge.
So, if anybody has got any questions, we'll just go through them, obviously, when we get a chance to do so. But, like we said, the match itself, the first half was pretty poor.
It was. I mean, it was. But it's one of them where I did think Burnley. There was a chance. It was right away. We got split wide open, by the way.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any centre halves there. Didn't have any. And the lad played him through, and he done a really bad first touch. And I thought, God, yet again we've been ripped open. We couldn't get any sort of foothold in the game, other than trying to shoehorn it to Saint and let him try and take some players on, and that wasn't really working. It did a few times. We got in some really dangerous areas, but nothing really came of it. But I thought, to try and be positive, because it should be a positive one, this, by the way, the second half, there was periods of the second half where we really managed the game well, really managed it well, and took it up. Was one time we had about 7 corners in a row. And
Second half, we battered them.
we really did.
Battered them.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say Almiron had a few, chances. We didn't necessarily get in and go, this is a goal. We got in behind them and it was a goal. But what I mean is we were getting out wide quicker, we were passing the ball better. Burnley had no answers for a lot of it, and that was nice to see. And what really, as I say, I've just mentioned there was 5 or 6 corners in a row where we're just backs against the wall for Burnley, and I've never seen we do that to any team for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was good.
The first half was really scrappy, and like you said before, the referee just he was terrible, absolutely terrible.
shocking.
You think from 1 week, because last week we sat and said the same. No, it was
Yeah, it was,
the home at the Eye.
Was an Norwich game, wasn't it?
The,
Not before.
No, it was the week before because we were away because we were saying that he was a proper home referee.
Oh, right, okay.
But you do just think week after week, God, these referees are terrible. But dear me, he was awful, absolutely awful. Wanted to constantly break up the game, was giving them every little niggly foul or little touch or anything like that, and he was giving us nothing. So that was just breaking up the game.
There was just no momentum. You couldn't build any momentum. As soon as I think, I'd love to know that I don't think the ball was in play for more than about 2 minutes, and there was a foul given. It's just breaking up play all the time. It was just, I hated it.
We did have a big chance where it was ball played just over for Callum Wilson, and you've got to give credit to their defender because he just comes across at the last second and takes it off.
Wasn't it?
Wilson's toe. That was an unbelievable tackle. That.
I'm thinking about the one where he deflected over the top.
No, it wasn't Tarkovsky. It was the other centre half, the blondish lad. He literally just gets his toe on it just as Wilson's hitting it because that's flying, and that was pretty early on in the game.
So inside the ground, Mark, were you worried when we scored? Do you think VAR were going to have a huge influence in this?
Could you see it from where you were? I was just
you could like from the other end. It did just look like he came and dropped it. Not actually what had happened of him going out and dropping it on. You do always have that worry of, all right, what's going on here? Especially when you then see the keeper running up after straight away to the referee and stuff like that. But it looked, because we're like more or less kind of straight on with it, and it did just look like he came out and grabbed it, and as he came down, just dropped it out of his hands. But obviously, when we then saw the replay later on, he's gone over the top of Cher and it came loose there. But dear me, Wilson, how has he scored that, man?
Great finish, isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
it really is. Every time it gets better and better every time I say it. I mean, obviously live, I knew it was good. I was right in line with the incident, and I was worried. And let's be fair, I didn't think it was a foul, but just today's game, I felt, I think everything gets given these days.
Well, look at that one there, the Leicester game yesterday, where there was one disallowed.
It
really, I mean, similar enough, different enough that it was. I think were both right decisions. In that Schmeichel has the ball under control, and Pope, but it was Nick Pope on it. Goes over. If Shea's facing him and jumps and does that,
yes,
he's not the ball. But the fact that Pope's gone over the top of him. And he's unlucky, Pope. He's very unlucky, but there's nothing wrong with it.
He did it a few times, I wasn't impressed with him at all.
I remember
I think he's a good keeper normally.
Last season, I think we beat him 3-1 at home. Or something like we got a penalty, and it seemed like the tactic was to get at him. Because he looked shaky with his feet. He's very highly rated, Pope, but I've not seen anything when he's played us to suggest that he's
he was getting loads of pictures taken after the game because we stayed back for a drink, and then when I came out he was getting pictures taken with Newcastle fans like next to the bus on the exit, and someone asked him, they were going, hey, did you think it was a foul? And he went, I've seen it back, it wasn't.
Fair play.
And he actually said that, and he was getting pictures taken. He's massive, he's absolutely massive.
I tell you what, we met Fraser Forster.
No,
I was when I lived in Norwich. But Amy's dad we lived in a house share thing to start with, and Amy's dad was dropping off at Fridge Freezer for her. So we used to live quite near Carrow Road, about a mile away down the road, and we put him in a hotel that's on the corner. So in there,
Fraser Forster.
Aye, but he was apparently staying in the hotel as well, because we had a few beers in the bar with Rog, and says, "I'll get in the lift," and up we go, and then it stops, and Fraser Forster, Scrooged. You ever seen the film Scrooge? He's in the lift with Death, and Death's like just in the corner of the lift like that. Fraser Forster was like that. He's fucking gargantuan. He was only 19 at the time.
And to be fair, if you're saying that,
I was stood there. I'd have been 27 at the time, and I was starstruck by like a teenager. They didn't know. Amy and Dad didn't have a clue. I'm stood there going.
My lass used to teach his daughter, and she came in with a thank you card, and inside it says, "Oh, I'm off to Scotland" or something. It was written in it, I'm leaving type of thing. And that was obviously when he went to Celtic. And then she said, some players off to Celtic, whoever he is. And I was like, it's obviously him.
He's huge, massive.
Well, honestly, Pope I walked past and I was like, hang on a second, he's absolutely.
Was he 6'7"? I think that rings a bell.
Jesus, something like that. Well, I'm 6'5".
Where can you remember that?
I don't know why.
I'd put money on he's not 6'7". If you said it, I'm kidding.
The thing is, if Pope's the head of the Catholic Church, and he's got to be quite big.
That's true. You're right there.
Well, that's why I found it quite ironic that the Pope didn't like dealing with crosses at the weekend.
Hey.
You can have that one.
Any more? I think we should move on.
We read
that one. Bad happens.
Move on. I'm trying to think if I can fit. Is the Pope catching it?
You're stretching there.
Tell you what I didn't realise at the time that the Mike Williamson song was Mrs. Robinson.
What?
Mike
Yeah,
Robinson,
yeah.
Here's to you,
Yeah,
Mike.
Mike
I didn't know. I didn't realise that was Mrs. Robinson until Taylor told us years later. I was like, yeah, it sounds. When I was in the ground with it, I think it sounds nothing like it. I was just
My favourite thing about that whole story was you made the sound of the lift. You went.
I had a little bit of colour to my stories, like just for the listeners,
Sound effect
viewers.
So let's talk about the ones who are getting the. Decker's watching the match.
You
can see.
won Callum's.
Sorry for people with the audio.
Callum's Twitter again.
He's just stamping right in the face.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get onto that later. We'll get onto that later.
And there he is in the comments.
So players that stand out once again. Mark, I'll come to you on this one. Joe Linton, John Joe Shelby, and Lewis once again. Fantastic games by all three of them.
It was. I noticed you didn't fist pump for Joe Linton there. Just
No,
Shelby.
I'm very happy with Joe Linton.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy that Shelby's getting some plaudits. It does, because I've always defended him. I've tried, right? I have.
He has been quite easy to defend against for the most part.
You what, sorry?
He's been quite easy to defend against for the most part.
You stop it.
Well, Joe Linton, or?
well, both of them.
No, I was going to say, I don't think the make.
Fair play, like.
Sorry, Mark, was your question?
No, it's nice to see that repeats of the performances that we've had over the couple of weeks. And I mean, I've seen a lot of comments, particularly around Joe, of saying what a turnaround he's had. Eddie Howe has really made improvements with him, but I've got to say he's been improved for a lot of the season, not just in the last 3-4 games. I mean, yes, his performances have kind of stepped up a little bit, but I'm not going to give Bruce credit for them, but his performance has been a lot better this season overall, rather than just within the last couple of games.
You did turn to me at Brentford and go, "Who's this guy?" Like
this guy.
I know.
And I did as well.
Yeah. So there has been
that was when he was doing rainbow flicks and
ridiculous,
back,
right, yeah. I agree.
kicking them round on
He's been a
himself.
good player. I mean, inconsistent. He's been terrible as well for a long, for spells. I'd say one game in every 5 or 6. He's probably, if you look at him and think, he's actually there's someone in there. There's not a £14 million player, not a number 9, not a 20 goals, whatever. But since he's signed, I think there's been flashes of it.
Yep.
And he's been, the last 3 games, 4 games maybe. It looks like he's a man reborn.
I think for me the how he's became different. I'll come on to his work rate and stuff in a minute, but when you signed him and you paid 40 million, you give him the number you did, you played him in the position you did, you're expecting goals, right?
Yeah.
Period. You're expecting goals. Then all of a sudden, he's not really a striker, but he might be a right winger, so you're expecting him to create chances and maybe chip in with a few goals. None of that happened either, okay? However, what seems to have happened now is we're playing him even more deeper, and his role's totally different. And now I think fans are accepting the fact that, okay, I'm not really judging you on chances you're going to create or perhaps chances you're going to score necessarily, but we're judging him on breaking up play, linking play up well, working hard, and he's doing all of that.
And that's the stuff he's always done well.
But it's because of the position he was playing, your mindset, people's mindset, and mine as well, was, he's never scared that centre half. He's never even had a shot today. So he's played poor, end of. Whereas on Saturday, did he have a shot? I'm not so sure. But he still played well. Still a good game.
That's a pretty good point. I think judging him on different merits.
Yes.
Now that he's playing a bit deeper.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to
make.
Thank you, got that. Thank you.
And we'll finally start playing a left back at left back.
Yeah,
the best.
He's the one that I thought Bruce didn't seem to like him after a dozen games or so last season. And in fairness, he didn't start very well, really, did he? Now, young Jamal Lewis. Callum Wilson.
Well recovered there.
It's because we've got Callum Lewis on the. I'm still getting them mixed up.
I think I've done this before as well.
I've
Many
definitely been a few times during last
times.
season.
Callum got a little bit confused himself the other day as well, didn't he?
He started turning up at the stadium with 3 his kit on and that, like, oh, well, lads. John Joe, you seen these tweets? No, but I was a bit concerned because I thought, well, the second half of his season with Norwich in the Premier League, he was excellent, and that's what we signed him on the back of. And I thought, well, is it just that he's shit, and that's why he's not getting the games because he's just rubbish? And it's early again, same as the Joe Linton thing. It's still a little bit early to say, yep, he's the answer. He's better than Richie. I mean, we all talked the other week about what a mess Richie made. Well, the 3 would talk about the mess Richie
I
made.
agreed with you.
I'm not starting this again.
But yeah, so far I think he looks like a first team left back. He looks like a kind of player that that would kind of hope you would be.
Well, I remember his first. Well, to be fair, we all play. Even Hendrick scored a screamer when we beat West Ham. First game of the season away, 3-0. I lost my glasses at Leicester. He looked great then, didn't he? And we thought, wow, this is what we've needed. This is the left back we've wanted. Blah blah blah. And it quickly went downhill. Quickly. I remember we played Brighton and he got absolutely rinsed. So did Saint as well, by the way, against Lamptey.
And that's why when he's got the space, he's brilliant going forward. Yeah. When he's under pressure and being asked to defend, that's where he's got questions.
Well, did you see? I'll only say one. Well, a few things I'd say is I think he really sticks to his task defensively, whereas he might not get the first tackle, but he's on them for the set. He's always buzzing around them trying to get the ball, which I love that about him.
He's got the pace to get him out.
He really has.
Trouble, hasn't he?
He tries to play football. He tries. Like he's not one of these that'll just lump it for lump's sake. He'll get the ball under pressure. He'll try and keep it. Even when there's people pressing him, he'll try his best to keep a hold of it. But there was one moment, I don't know if it's difficult for you to see where he got himself in knots. He lost the ball. It was very late on as well. I thought, oh my God, they're in. But somehow he recovered and won it back, and it was fine. And I think this is why I always give Shea time of days. I appreciate at times there's going to be a mistake there, and there is going to be one with Lewis, by the way. 100% there's going to be one.
Yeah.
I just think you have to accept that for the greater good of like.
So Dan's put a comment in saying, so as long as we don't judge him harshly after we face the likes of Salah, Morris, Ronaldo.
That's when you need Dummett.
It's dead easy.
Dummett was alright against them players.
It's dead easy to look at them like tearing. If it is Lewis, hypothetically, in the term of Arsenal, it's dead easy to go like, I shite him as being forgetting that he's played well against the teams that he needs to play well against, likes of Burnley, Norwich, who are our standard really, but all around that. Well, yeah, I'd love. I'm the same with all our players. I'd love them to do well. Yeah. Even like Jeff Hendrick. What I've read someone say about Lascelles on Twitter, I think it was this weekend, was that he starting to look better again because he's playing for somebody who seemingly knows how to kind of organise a defence. I know it's been a criticism of how for a long time, but he's gone away. He's shadowed like Diego Simeone, and he's been around looking at. So I like to think he's kind of picked some stuff up and gone, here's where I was going wrong previously. I mean, it would still look a little bit shaky at the back, really, but I like to think that because he's not just being told like try and get in the way. He's been told where to go. And, simplifying things a bit too much. Yeah, basically, and we all said that. I certainly a lot we did say when Howe came in. You think, well, when is he going to get more out of Joe Linton? We said Lewis. We said I don't think Lascelles really came into it, but players that maybe were on the periphery a little bit and hadn't been so impressive to start with is now Longstaff's mentioned as well. Is Eddie Howe going to get something out with them because he's a good man manager, a good coach? Like Callum Wilson says, we're starting this season, we weren't really fit.
That's shocking.
That's like,
it's a shock.
That's awful, isn't it?
That's not like some.
And we knew that. We knew
before
that,
Bruce's friends started chirping up.
Yeah.
That's not one of us saying, "Oh, they don't look." That's a Newcastle footballer who had to train in Bournemouth for a lot of last season when he wasn't fit because our facilities were shit. And the rehabilitation fucking program they had for him was rubbish. That's a player who's had to do all that. And saying, oh yeah, we're rubbish because we weren't really that fit at the start of the season. Like, that's basic, that.
And what is mad, it's a good point you've said, is that I haven't seen any of the sort of Bruce boys, no one's commented on what Wilson said, other than us fans, of course. We have kind of like...
Gone very quiet on that front, hasn't it, over the last 2 games?
Unbelievably. And I can't... Listen... We all get things wrong, right? We're not experts. Football things happen, right? But there's loads of times I've said something and it's come back to bite us, right? And so be it, right? And I lose even more respect for them when they can't go. Do you know what it is? Actually, I was probably wrong there. I defended Bruce, and there's as you said, the player is coming out here saying that they weren't fit at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Like maybe I have misjudged Bruce's ability, maybe in over the season type of thing.
And there's no way that if a football team, a Premier League football team, any professional team really, if they're starting a season and they're not fit off the pre-season, there's only one person to blame for that. That's not like, well, no, that's not Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley's got no.
I totally agree.
But it is to the extent that he appointed Bruce.
I'll give you that one, yeah.
But like that's all down to your head coach or your manager, whichever kind of way you have it set up, and it's just astonishing. I think
he kept using the phrase, especially when injuries kept happening. sports science or days off. He was like, we're listening to sports science people.
Yeah,
I think that was just shifting the blame.
That happened a few times.
Didn't it? A lot. Yeah. I used to mention that a lot, and I thought
I think a couple of the coaching staff have said that as well since they've left as well. There's a few of them saying there wasn't that many days off, but we knew there were.
Well, Rose said it was lovely.
This is the point at which the Bruce boys came out and said the Bruce boys start saying, "Oh, he's not manager anymore. You've got to shut up about him. Forget about it. He's not there now." It's like, well, but what? You can't do that.
Yeah, we're still talking about the last one.
Still, aye.
Yeah.
Still talking about Kevin Keegan.
What he didn't tell you was the sports scientist
Yes,
that they
well, it is.
employed also worked at the local high school teaching chemistry.
Really? Well, there you go then. That's why there were so many days off, because you had to go and teach.
Exactly.
Is
There you
that
go.
true, or is that
It's true, because I've just said so.
Ah, right.
Go on, Martin. Definitely not true.
Allegedly.
Right.
In physics or biology.
I know there's a few questions that came in already, but the comments have been going way too quick. I can't even keep up with them. So starting from now, if you want to send some questions in, we will go through them.
Maybe some belters up there.
And
Bobby,
there'll be
as well.
we'll copy and paste them again. Just as always, if you are a member, I get to see your comments a hell of a lot bigger than everybody else's. So become a member and you've got more chance of your questions being read out.
Exactly.
Am I selling it?
I think, yeah, that's the one. We've
And-
tried the emojis. We've tried, like, with Telegram. This is the one.
Oh, the emojis were good though.
they were great. The
Emojis are still there. They're still there,
Yeah,
yeah.
they get used.
Then we're good actually. Then,
Yeah, people still use them.
Definitely get
We need to
used.
update a couple of them, but they still are in use. Also,
We're gonna have a Joe Linton one
You
probably
need,
now.
you
won't
need
we?
to fatten mine out a little bit, like,
100%.
definitely.
100%. If you want to become a member as well, you do get access to the Telegram group. It is for members only, and there's been a hell of a lot of activity in the Telegram group today. Thanks to Callum Lewis. Callum will not tell everybody what you've been doing. Anybody that follows you,
They can just go
they'll
on Twitter
see.
and look for themselves.
They'll see. Or become a
Roger was
member.
very active in there at the weekend, wasn't he?
Roger was.
For
And-
the same reason.
I was fairly drunk on Saturday, but I wasn't Banksied.
Well, honestly, Roger was an absolute dream in the Telegram group the other night. His voice notes, absolutely hilarious. Every other word was a swear
They
word.
were they aren't safe for work, I must admit.
Yeah. So, question from Tobias is: are any new member badges coming? Leave it with us. Like I said, the emojis, the badges, all need a makeover and a bit of an uplift. So I'll sort that out in the next week or so. You're staying the same, mate.
No.
Oh, yeah, I got a question.
You
Yeah.
got a question?
We haven't talked about the sponsorship of the stadium being taken down.
Yeah. So I was hoping there was going to be a question that was coming in, but there
Chris,
hasn't
can we
been.
talk about the sponsorship of the stadium coming down?
Well, Bessie, if you become a member, you got
I'm not
no
a
chance of
member.
your question being read.
It'll cost you a tenner to ask that
I've got
question.
to do it in quiet voice because
So the photo came out today of the levitating crane.
when you said that, I was like, oh no, maybe it's lies.
So the levitating crane and the Sports Direct signs are coming down. Lee Ryder said that the club have confirmed it. There's photos of the likes of the
Sign writing,
Yeah,
people outside and
so
skips
coming
and all
outside,
sorts,
the
isn't it?
skips are outside.
You see that picture of Lee Ryder today, by the way?
I didn't see the picture.
Yeah, the
Wembley
cup
before the
final,
99
wasn't
cup
it?
final.
Oh, was that actually him?
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't.
It wasn't him. It
It's a
was
great
his
snap.
long-haired brother.
Oh,
It was a really good snap. That like,
I didn't see it.
To be fair, I think we all had hair
At Wembley before
back in them
well,
days.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
At Wembley before the 99 cup final.
Oh, okay.
And there's a picture of like some lads out having a nice time. And like Ryder's there in an England shirt with a canister and like ginger curtains.
Nice.
He said he's
Alright.
blonde but like gelled.
Yeah.
But I just having the time of his life.
Nice one.
It's a nice photo actually. Like I hope he's I hope he's
Shows he's just like us. Fat, bald and a fan.
Going
getting there, like.
going into the ground on the game against Man City, it'll be. That's our next home game.
Oh,
There
Yep.
might not be a single Sports Direct sign in.
You know what they should
in
have
that
done?
ground.
yeah.
Take the ones off the roof but just loosen the ones behind wall.
So we could do
So
it.
we could like a kind of
Pull it
like almost
Might
like
be a bit dangerous that though, mightn't it?
Oh, aye.
well like not
be.
just with gloves.
No, I mean
It's a
like
great
people
deal.
chucking them around or battering.
It happened in the cup, like youth cup match years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, people pulling them off.
So it's probably the last bit of the Ashley era which is left there. Decker now. Obviously, Bruce went, Charlie went, coach and staff went. Anything else disappeared recently?
It's just for me. It's the kind of
A winless run.
no. It's the kind of the scars I wear like mentally.
Yeah, well, honestly, I sat here when I don't know. It was just me and Chris, I'm sure, and I don't know. It was a question about Amanda's interview or something like that, and I'd says like the thing that I was most looking forward to wasn't about the money, it wasn't about buying players, wasn't this and that. It was getting rid of the signs, and
Yeah.
I said that, and people were like, "Oh, that's a bit of a stupid thing to say when you think of what the club can become and all this." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe," but for me, you know, just looking in stages, getting rid of the signs and being able to walk on the ground, or just even see photos online. It's not just, you know, of
It's-
course, going on the
yeah.
ground's amazing, but to see a picture of Wilson scoring a goal or seeing the War Flags doing a display
Yeah.
and Sports Direct's not going to be visible is amazing.
Announcing a new signing without Sports Direct
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
background.
Everything is just
Yeah.
it's just so. I mean, we've seen loads of people doctor photos online, and
Yeah.
that to turn me on. Even them ones do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be real now. So
The-
for a period of time, because probably maybe something may come in the future where.
Well, it makes you wonder now what's happening with this embargo. Well, not an embargo, but the block on the likes of the sponsorship. Is something in the pipeline now where there's already sponsorship in the background, because there's a hell of a lot of Sports Direct signs in there.
Did they extend that?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. I knew they tried it. I couldn't remember.
So I think it's the 14th of this month, I think.
Yeah, they did extend it.
That's next week, isn't it?
So,
yeah.
are we expecting a new sponsor to go straight in there, or just empty part of the ground?
Even if it's because that, I mean, that one that the picture was taken of today under the scoreboard, I didn't even know that one was there, or I couldn't remember because I've never.
Yeah,
I've sat there, but I've never really.
No, we never see that.
The vast majority of the time, I'm in my season ticket. I can't see that.
So I've seen that one for years, obviously. Unfortunately,
but that's what I don't. Yeah. You've got the two on the East Stand, the one on the Gallowgate, the one that was on top of the Gallowgate, and all the little shitty ones around the back.
The only ones we see are the ones behind, like around the ball.
Well, even then, because I start literally, it's it's behind,
it's right
so
next
I don't
to you.
see it.
I
I know that I'm between the S&P and that's
when I was sitting there looking, you'd have one there, and you'd have two there, and you'd have one there. You know, and big as well, you know what I mean? And it was just too much. Like,
then you used to have the one on the roof.
Well, that was a shocker, but yes, I agree. That was a shocker.
But I would like...
They're all shocking, but...
I would like it not to be bare. I like the idea of... there's actually a photo I found of the night of the takeover, and you know, I think it's on the... It might be on the ticket office, and it's got the Newcastle badge, like the black and white version of it off the shirt.
It's one of the. It's not the ticket entrance. It's one of the entrances for staff and that. You've got terrace bar. Then you've got another double door, and I'm not sure.
That's what used to be the museum, like that bit, isn't it?
Yes, I think
it's like just before
it
curves. It's like directly behind the Bobby Robson statue.
But even if they just do that for the time being, because it's a big,
it might used to be in the old ticket office. To be fair,
I think that might be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it might have used to be.
But yeah, that just something like that. I would, if it's not like, I mean, we're probably going to end up with like Aramco or Saudi Airlines or something along those lines, aren't we? But
do you? I don't think though it will be plastered everywhere, because Amanda Stavely made a comment, didn't she, about I can't even get a decent. Now, obviously, of course, that she's going to slag off Sports Direct because of what it is. She's not going to slag off, a Saudi Airlines, for example. But she kind of mentioned that it is plastered everywhere.
It is,
and maybe if they do, by all means, that might happen. It might only be on one stand, maybe, or. Do you know what I mean? Not just be everywhere. Because I want the badge back. What they used to have on the leases. I would love that on the
Gallowgate.
Just right in the middle.
Do you know what it is though? Like, obviously, Mike Ashley had a God knows how many different companies, and if obviously Sports Direct was the big one, his baby, but obviously you've got the flannels sponsor as well in there at one point.
Yeah.
Imagine if they take them down and stick the flannels sign up.
To be fair though, like if the sponsorship had have been more varied, even if it was all Mike Ashley's companies, it wouldn't look half as bad. Yeah. It was the fact that it's just the red and blue dominant Sports Direct.
He did get Cruz in there for a while, didn't he?
Cruz was in there, and like I say, Flannels was in it, obviously Sports Direct
was Flannels' logo is black. It's fine, right? We can live with that. It's quite stylish in a way, but obviously the Sports Direct is just so damn cheap. And it's like glue to him, isn't it? When you see that logo, you immediately think of one man. Don't you?
I think we'll probably see it disappearing from, and it'll have the biggest impact is obviously on the stands.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll necessarily replace them with anything, but definitely all the stuff around around the inside of the ball, on all of the barriers, the gates, and all that. Where like literally every stand's got them all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't mind them being turned into something else, some other kind of advertisement, because it'll generate revenue. It'll bring in more money into the club through sponsorship and advertising and that kind of thing. So I'm all for that. Do that. Rip them down and replace them with something else. But if we can keep the front of the East stand or the Bobby Robson stand with the Sports Direct signs off, and just have the stadium name and the badge, as you say. Even if they leave the Castor shit up at the Gallowgate, I'm not too bothered about that.
Well, that's a bit harsh, that.
I was going to say Castor and Puma, but it's just Castor replacing Puma, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think them look quite good, actually.
I don't mind that. I think and you look around to their grounds, Leeds have got it, Norwich have got it. A lot of clubs have got the kind of sponsorship along the top of and it doesn't really.
It's because it gets prime.
It's because
it's prime. On real estate, isn't it? When it's on screen, or when there's those photos and that kind of thing.
The problem was that it was a big part of the problem, I think, is that it was Sports Direct. And if he paid for it, if he was a good chairman, it wouldn't be an issue. But because Sports, like I said, you see Sports Direct, you think Mike Ashley, certainly we do, because of the association we have with Ashley and the association that we have for Sports Direct as well. Like, if he'd been saying, right, I'm going to put this on the ground, but I'm going to donate £20, that's £20 million a year, we're going like, fair enough.
Pay for it.
But it's not just what it is. It's more the kind of what it represented or what it represents, because it's still, I think, still there at the moment.
I mean, even the bloody Stewart's coats have got Sports Direct on the back of them.
Aye, maybe that's just where they got them from.
The thing that there's not just them ones in the ground. The one where the players come out needs set on fire. Just get out of here.
That's the one I hate the most.
Isn't it awful?
Can you remember?
It's awful. That.
There was a shirt that leaked before, in the summertime when they do, and it leaked.
Was it the granny tits?
What do you say?
Granny tits.
No, it
was one. It was one of the Puma. I think it was remember the yellow Puma one, the blue, the European one, the Gabriel Obertan shirt.
Yes, yeah.
I think it might have been that one, or it might have been the Brazil one. Anyway, it was one that leaked, and it had a Sports Direct tag on it already. Sports Direct RRP
70% off.
And it was like, we can't even escape fucking internet leaks.
Yeah.
Without saying sport, he's managed to get them in somehow.
Yeah. The coat of that season had it on because I had it.
It did. It had the little kind of patch, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I won the training top date as well.
Yeah.
Gabriel Obertan shirt like that.
But for me, the sign that the one that you mentioned, Dick, and I had a massive rant on about it a couple of weeks ago, is that one around the players' entrances.
It's awful and cheap.
It's probably the newest one as well.
It's like a nightclub in like Benidorm or Magaluf or something. At the doorway into that.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like a shit tattoo studio when you're on holiday.
Yeah, it really
There's
does.
those good ones that you get on the strip.
Those 24-hour ones.
The one opposite where the players come out, where like sort of the executives or whatever would go into the glass, but that one that's there.
The one where they've just literally ripped it off a shot.
On reception.
Just horrific. And I just I get he wants these. Don't get me wrong, I understand. I would want the same if it was my company, but I mean that is ridiculous. You are literally just sticking it in the most random places. Like it doesn't even make sense, does it? Like
anywhere there's space for it.
Basically, which is like your shops, right? Like your shops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some bath towels over there. Stick some polo shirts next to that now. Just anything. Just get it anywhere.
This netball.
I went in. I can say that. I thought I was going to get wrong for saying I've been in. I went in. I wanted Madden. I wanted a new Madden, right? And the only game shop that was open was in Sunderland. So I go into Sunderland, no idea where it was, and I'm literally searching for it. I'm like, where the hell is this game shop? Like, in Sports Direct, right? So I went into Sport.
The game shop was in Sports Direct.
The game.
Yeah. Oh, hold on, does he not own them now?
I didn't know that at the time. So I went into obviously Sports Direct. I'm going through all sorts of shit, like shin pads a lot. Went upstairs, I'm like, what the hell? And you go like the sort of like kids section, they've got like Spider-Man onesies and all that type of shit. And then I literally passed a Barbie doll and there was game. I was in the game and the shop was like, it was just about the size of this room and it was actually game. And I was like, what the hell's going on? The woman says, I know. She went, nobody knows where it exists down here. And I saw there's a nice story for you. But it was just so random,
Loads of them, like the one in the Eldon Square is gone now, the game, on it. It's I don't know what it is now, but I never see.
Because what he's doing, it's to save rent, which makes sense. He's just banging them in his own shops if they're big enough.
And a lot of people do digital stuff now, do games, don't they? Because there was a big Granger Games at Jarrah.
Scott says, Decker, you can actually download games now.
No, I know, but I'm old school. I enjoy.
I don't like downloading them. Like I prefer a disc.
Last few years, I've downloaded. I've got a PS5, not so long since. But I wanted the CD, the disc drive version of it.
Also, I can't trade in digitally.
Just because I wanted to.
I like to trade in games.
So I could play Red Dead Redemption 2 on it because it's not been ported yet.
So I traded in loads of games, and I got Madden cost it's 15 quid or something. It's £50 on the shelf. So it was worth going in.
£60 digitally.
Bloody hell.
So much happy.
I would have bought it online, like it would have been cheaper. But that's not going to save the high street, is it? But that means just means Mike Ashley can buy more shops.
Mike Ashley, he's gone now.
Yes,
shitty little
he's gone,
have gone now. His managers have gone. The coaching staff have gone.
Like I say, the only thing, it's the pessimism within me. I still can't watch Newcastle or think about Newcastle without but it's going to go tits up in it
soon.
Because
we need to see the training ground as well, because that was all over. All over the training ground as well.
Didn't they? Was it the warm up room or the chill room or something like that?
Well, even all the barriers around the pitches had them all off, all the signs on as well.
Even watching Eddie Howe do a press
conference
conference
when he passes on his train to have a look.
When Eddie Howe does his press conference, is obviously behind him. We've got the board. It's covered in that shit. So that'll be gone as well.
Are we away next week? We are on Saturday.
Leicester away.
They always seem to do it when it's like, Christ, I've got to wait ages for it.
Yeah, because
it used to be that they used to sneak bad news in during international. I'm sure the signs went up during international break.
Aye, you're right.
And the photos online, I was like, oh fuck, I can't believe it. But now it's like I've got to wait a fortnight before I can see some.
He used to always do that, announce bad news, so they would think it would die down. Like the initial anger would die down in 2 weeks and not be arsed by then.
So, Doug, I mean, you've already spoken about this, but I'll come to you, Bestie. Thoughts on the team picture?
I haven't seen it.
You kidding?
What, like the squad photo?
No, the Fabian Shea one.
The one with the one
the celebration.
Sorry, I thought you meant they had they want to do it. I'm dead happy. I think it's an extension of the thing that Howe does in training, where the winning team of the big game they have gets a photo taken and all that. Like, and I think the losing team might have to buy that dinner or something like that. Like, I'm happy with that. Like it's. You've seen people say it's one of those ones where, and I've seen the point made on Twitter where Newcastle fans demand so much, they expect so much, but we'll absolutely buzz my tits off because we've beaten Burnley, one a relegation rival. Not a disparage Burnley's name out like that. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to do so, but not this time. And it's the first win of the season, the first win under a new ownership, the first win under a new manager, and it's why not? I'm happy with that. Like. Let them, if they're happy about winning the game and someone says, well, get a photo, lads, take a photo. We've got 30 photos this season.
You've got to celebrate. I mean, we haven't won a game since Rose was lying on a bed with her tits out getting drawn by Leonardo DiCaprio.
I think Rose West.
I was thinking Danny Rose. I was thinking Danny Rose.
Out of all of the things that you said,
it's because I was thinking of that, it's been 74 years, that picture of her when she was an old woman. I was thinking of her when she was young.
Is this the longest we've ever gone without winning a game?
I was thinking about Danny Rose as well.
I was thinking, lying down Danny Rose.
Danny Rose?
Danny Rose would have a canny set of chebs on him, when he came here.
He's a Watford now, isn't he?
He is. He got turned inside out at the weekend.
It's mad that he's replacing Daryl Janmat at Watford as well. Because Janmat's gone to...
But one thing that stuck out with it for me is everybody's almost ridiculing her for doing it. By having this celebratory,
has there been that much?
Because I've seen loads.
Have you? Because I haven't.
Like all of the banter football and sports pages and stuff like that. Opposition fans but anybody that's watched the Man City documentary, when they win a game, they're all in the changing rooms celebrating like that. Pep's right in the middle of it, getting them all G'd up and that kind of thing. They're all taking pictures and that. So. It's all right for the champions of England to do it when they win a game against Burnley one week, but it's not all right for us.
I think every club. I think Burnley would have done it if they beat us.
Yeah. I think it's a psychological thing. I remember, and it's on a completely different level. But I played Sunday League for the Clock. In Hebburn, we played against Bilkey Albion at Heatherfield Cup.
Big local derby.
It was a big one. Beaten 3-2. It was pissing down rain. In the changing room afterwards.
The what?
The changing room afterwards. Well, all of us were soaking, muddy as hell.
Did you move to Ashington during that sentence?
But it was it's like 15 years ago, and I still remember it now because it was such a good atmosphere in the dressing room afterwards. And if that's a psychological thing, if it works for Pep Guardiola, if it works for Pep Guardiola, if it's good, that might be the reason behind it. And I say that with regards to the training thing I mentioned as well earlier. Like if they are in the changing room, if that's something, if that gives the David Brailsford 1% thing, improve 1% of everything continuously. Well, that's shit.
Well, the point you made, because I think I mentioned this on Saturday, the training one. Yep. So they have two teams, and the winner has the photo taken. It's on the screens all week, for the next week or whatever it is. If it was won, you could have the same. You've only given a 5-a-side, and you're celebrating that, and getting a picture taken, and you're putting all of these screens. You could have exactly the same argument that they've just won a 5-a-side game in training. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have the same. Well, what they're doing that for? It's all about team morale, team spirit,
absolutely.
Celebrating success.
Of course, it's what it's all about.
Unity. Somebody just used that word.
That's exactly.
That is the perfect word for it.
And if the banter account, fuck them. Like it's got nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
If it's working for us,
they're a banter account, they deserve to be binned off like a fucking banter account.
But we as fans, we love things like that because it just shows you that the players are celebrating the same way that we were celebrating because it means a lot to it. We've waited a long time for it. It's came under difficult circumstances. It's put an end to the last 14 years because we've been waiting for this to happen since the takeover.
When do you
it's just an accumulation of things, and it's just a massive release and relief.
The last time the players had that feeling at full time, that moment in that photograph, right? You watch all them players. Obviously, Lewis is looking at Gale's cock by the looks of it, but that moment,
or Ryan Fraser, perhaps,
maybe wee man. I wonder the last time that a players felt like that for playing for us. Like honestly, God, that must be a long time.
Isaac Hayden's header, maybe.
Possibly. That's a long time ago.
Oh yeah, that was the last goal I saw pre-COVID.
I mean, I haven't said maybe Leicester away. I keep coming back to that one because that was a huge one. It was just a shocking result. Hopefully we get it this week now. They're coming, but anyway, sorry to interrupt there, Mark. But yes, everything you've said there, but also just. I agree with Bestie in terms of 30 times. Let's see that photo every weekend.
Absolutely,
I'd love to see it every week.
So I want to touch on a couple of more things just before call it a night. There is the
9 o'clock, man.
I know. I'm still got a couple of things to touch on.
So
the director of football news. It was a Matt Law. So he put the article out basically saying that Michael, is it Emanalo? I could never get the pronounced name. I should leave that up to you, Mark.
Emanello.
Apparently he's turned the job down. He was offered the Newcastle United director of football role, and he turned it down quickly afterwards.
And then Mayhead at the back post.
So yeah, he comes out and says, contrary to recent news or something similar to
You
that,
should have tagged him in it, shouldn't he?
saying it's not happening. He was never offered the job. It's communication once again, communication which we haven't seen.
Well, it was the tweet that Matt Law put out was that someone's getting too big for their boots. One of the owners, the too many chefs thing, too many cooks, too many chiefs. I don't know what I think about my dad coming out and saying that, because I don't know if that needs to be said, really. I know it's communication.
It's just self-defense sort of thing, you would have thought, isn't it?
It is a bit, but I remember Tony Gier at Villa, someone made the point, I forget who it was now, when he was the Chinese fella that bought Villa, when it went down, and he was never off Twitter doing stuff like that, and I think
Dr. Tony.
it doesn't always need, you can just leave things sometimes.
I'll be honest, I thought slippery slope.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be negative there, but I just thought, as much as I kind of, when I read it, I went, I get it, son. And I liked it, I think I did as well. But part of us thought, it's a slippery slope if you're trying to punch everyone in.
I suppose,
really,
though, it stops it from snowballing.
I don't know, because it does it. I mean, I'm really happy when, if he's like almost putting press releases out after a game saying, great, like on Saturday, for instance, great result for the boys, whatever, he has a photo of the lads in the dressing room, this is brilliant, Newcastle United. I'm no problem whatsoever with that. But when he starts, not picking fights, but when he starts kind of putting things right, that's when the same as Decker, I think, that doesn't normally end well when you've got someone in that kind of position starting to kind of, not police what's being written, but starting to react to rumours and react to kind of tabloid stories.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike, you go on.
Do you not think he was trying to not have another situation like we had with the Emery news?
No, yeah.
Maybe he was. Maybe there has been a leak, and maybe he's just doing a bit of PR.
I think what he's, let's be fair, right, what he's done is absolutely is spot on in regards to what he's tried to do it to stop people talking, and I get it, right. My worry is though, is if you keep doing that every time there's a story leaked, and if he doesn't respond to it the way he did there, everyone will go, well, that must be true then, because the last time or the time before he was there saying it was false.
Stuart Donald did it as well when he got Sunderland, and he started going on the podcast and stuff, and he was some FTM patter went in and stuff like that.
That's right, yeah.
And he started like arguing with fans on Twitter.
Yep, and all thought he was a hero at first, and then
that's not. And I mean, hopefully, the difference is he was the owner, and my dad's. I don't know what him and Amanda Staveley are kind of on the board, aren't they? They're not, because Al remains the chairman. So it's not quite the same, but it's still. I'd rather he was a bit more cautious. Maybe.
I agree. I mean. Yeah.
And because it's not the first time we've heard that said about someone in the dressing room or someone in the.
Sorry, everybody.
That was amazing.
First talking, Mark's trying to fix the camera, and it's gone off the main camera onto the webcam on the laptop. And
it was just Mark's face. Pure Lee Rayner style, just like
it's fixed.
It was like he wasn't like Lee Rayner at a press
conference. It really was.
Hello, Steve.
I can't wait to
one of the best.
One of the best.
Sorry, Mark, that was one of the best.
I can't remember what I was saying now.
I'm sorry, anybody who's listening to audio, but you're gonna have to go and watch that video on YouTube, because
I'm assuming it was flickering on screen for everybody, and it wasn't just us.
Yeah, but I'd rather look cautious, and maybe that's not the right. By all means, speak to a journalist and get the story out there, but
yes,
don't start picking fights or correcting people on Twitter, because that never ever ends well with anything.
I agree. I'm glad you said it first, because I thought I may be the only one saying it and look like a dick.
No,
but thanks, both of us look like dicks now, so that's great.
That's right. Well, but what's new?
No, I can see what you are saying. Like it's one of those ones where you worry that is he going to have to come out and say something when every story's in the press. Maybe a clever way. What's going on?
Straight from ready to call that one, kid.
Clever way of doing it would be, as you say, to put it out via a trusted source,
or a press release. If it comes out from the club, we hereby deny all whatever that Michael Lemano's been. And fair.
I mean, it's damn quick to do it that way, but the way he did it, I mean, boof. And everyone on Twitter loved it, and I do understand, of course, why they like that, because communication, it's putting a fire out, etc., etc., etc. My only fear is that if you're going to police every single story you've ever written, if you then don't, let's say something really bad happens next week. Say Lingard, right? Lingard's been linked left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
And what happens if you say Lingard turned us down, and everyone's hanging on for him to tweet again and go, that we never actually wanted him. Does that make sense? Like, I just feel like you're just trying to fight every fight then. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I think it's you need to be careful when you choose to do that kind of thing in the position he's in, talking about the stuff he's talking about, because as you say, there's that much gets written, and I think it might have just been part of his things with it was said with the Unai Emery thing about someone flapping their gums.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it has been.
It pissed us off that we had just won as well, though. That pissed us off more than anything.
Yeah.
That we had just getting the place was bouncing. We're getting my first win of the season, and then within I felt like 2 hours maybe, bang! Oh, he's turning us down because the project's not big enough or whatever. And
I think we're gonna
It's only Craig Hope doing that. Like,
but we are gonna get that happen though.
I know.
Not just because when Newcastle was us and all that.
Yeah.
It's
Which is the timing of it just hurt a bit.
Yeah.
We're trying to have 5 minutes in the sun here.
We're going to get that. We could win the Champions League final in 10 years' time, and the summer will come out and it'll be well.
But I think that's what he was.
Saudis have done this now.
He was trying to do was to sour the victory that we had and almost bring we down.
Yeah.
So again, maybe that's why he chose to react like he did.
Still being a.
There's a comment going. There's a comment I put on the screen, and somebody said that was like a pound stretch at Babe Station. I'm sorry, honestly. It's gone on.
That's got to be Mark's new emoji.
It's like you know that.
Oh, that is unbelievable, Mark.
When Neil Warnock was looking down the camera, good job I wasn't sucking my finger like Leslie Grantham there.
Oh yeah, actually, as well.
Or a Milky mini milk.
Aye.
Ooh, I don't know where I can go from here. I don't.
Neil, do you know what she's season and stuff?
Some of the comments of absolutely. I thought I had stopped, but I'm reading some of the comments coming in. And I'm gone.
Oh, I'm gone.
Like, poor Callum Lewis is still getting.
That was the best one. Mark's just seen Callum's tweets.
I was thinking about Mark.
Dear me.
I don't know what else. Anything else to wrap it up?
Well, I just wanted to touch on very briefly the Leicester game.
Okay.
In terms of perhaps the team. Do you think it'll be the same lineup? In particular, the back four. Do you think we'll get anything, Bestie?
Hard to say because Leicester aren't in the best form at the minute, are they?
No, they're not.
They're not either.
Lost again yesterday. So.
And we got the good result down there last year, although we were a totally different club to what we were last year, in for better and worse. I'm not expecting anything. I think I probably will get beat, but I'm more hopeful than I was 3 days ago.
I'm with you on that one.
We're definitely going to win. I'm going.
Yeah.
Are you going? I was going to go. I was meant to be going, but
You were meant to be coming, but you forgot that was your daughter's
first performance on
wasn't
stage.
it?
I have to go and see the daughter. So.
What do you reckon, Wallace?
I still gotta get over it. I think I'm optimistic that Leicester play on Thursday night as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Got a European game
Oh, is
Thursday
it
night.
Sunday the game, is it?
Sunday,
Early kick-off, too.
Oh, magic. That'd be nice.
So
The only problem is it clashes with the F1.
yeah, but obviously Leicester defeated Villa
Not in my house, it's not.
at the weekend day. Was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday, Villa beat them.
So that was yesterday. Then obviously they're playing on Thursday.
They looked terrible as well.
They did. So playing on Thursday
Where
away.
play on Thursday, like away to like.
Is it Napoli?
Napoli?
It's not an easy
I think
trip.
it's Napoli.
I mean, it's
That's
not
not
the
easy.
furthest trip, but it's a hard game.
So
isn't it?
after
game.
Napoli, then Sunday 2:00 kickoff. We travel there. I think now's a great time to play Leicester, and obviously we've had 4 points in the last two games. Something we all sat around here last week and said we would take that. It was a bare minimum, really. So I honestly think that we can get something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly think we can.
You go back a couple of weeks and you look at that fixture and you think, oh, Leicester are on a downward spiral. They've lost the last couple of games, and here come Newcastle as I would say.
And Newcastle,
Done
we'll see you
Newcastle,
now.
yeah. So
Well, we've only lost one in the last four off memory
Yeah.
quickly there. So I mean, that I know they're not.
That's why
all
I'm
wins,
confident.
But I should maybe be more confident than I am because I've only and it was Arsenal away, which let's be fair, I haven't won there since I was about 10. So you take it on the chin and move on.
Yeah.
They're playing Thursday, which I think is really good. They're in a bad run of form, and looking at our next four games, that is the one where I think we've got a chance. I think the other three, you just take your beatings and move on.
Not so much.
Well, the players won't think. my horrible mentality.
As a
is
fan,
that,
yeah,
Liverpool away, Man City, just take what I've got to get.
I think that's probably how I would approach them as well. As a fan, again, the players can't think like that.
Absolutely not.
But you kind of think, well, they're almost free hits. Like, if we get and we've done it before. We've got daft points at Anfield when we went down. We drew 2-2 down there.
You know what it is, actually? I've just written off the Man City game, and in fairness, we've given them a game every time.
I was just going to say that, Declan. We've done well against City.
The question which I can have: can Callum Wilson go another game without getting booked?
Without getting injured.
But
Injured's
the booking's the main one.
He's kept himself out of trouble.
When did the bookings reset? Is it like
halfway
January?
through the season?
Yeah.
So it must be like getting towards that 14, 15 games in now.
I think you've got to accept you're going to miss him at some point.
So do you think he should get one so he purposely misses the Man U game so he can play against?
No, because I'd want to beat them. They're beatable.
Man U's the day after Christmas, isn't it? On 27th.
Boxing Day, yeah.
Okay, so do you write the City game off?
Right, Liverpool enough, get one on Sunday. I don't know. If you're going to get it, I'd rather.
He's been all right the last few games. I'm saying that he could have easily picked the book.
Giving him the captain's armband is
Every game,
it seems to have calmed him a little bit.
He didn't have it on.
Like,
But we
he's
called
not-
that as well. We were ITK there. Like, well, we weren't ITK, we guessed it, but you know.
So it just...
The style of play
I
that
think
we
with the-
do, it gets him in trouble. It gets him in the scuffling, in the fighting every time because we're playing long balls. He's having to wrestle
Yeah.
people. We're almost playing in the hands of him getting the booking.
Well, I don't think he needed to do that as much at the weekend because Joe did a lot of that. When the balls were going long, they were going to Joe to either flick on or to bring down on his chest and stuff like that. So he wasn't getting himself into those situations where he maybe was tussling as much with the defence. The game's coming up. Leicester, you might see a bit more of that because they like to play on the break as well and hit it with Vardy in behind pace, and they'll have it's called Selçuk.
Said that well.
Good Turkish names. He likes a little battle as well, doesn't he? So
I think he may get one Sunday and miss Liverpool. Like,
Look at the centre half.
he's not even called Selçuk. Lord Farquhar.
He had the nightmare anyway. The first 2 goals we scored down there last season were him.
Aye.
I was going to say Suchek, but he's at West Ham.
He looks like he could be on like Vikings or some sort of like.
He's an incredible looking bloke. Like,
He really is. He's like,
Going up again.
no, he really does. I can imagine him like standing like in like a snowy sort of background with like some kind of
Soyuncu.
sword or something. And
Soyuncu, that's it.
Soyuncu.
Yeah.
Soyuncu. Aye, Silenzi, that's it.
oh, so he was nowhere near.
Soyuncu.
Right, I'm gonna call it a day.
Oh,
What's the last thing?
I've actually got a thing here.
Come
Right,
on, let's go.
We're talking about quick wins, PR stuff, right?
Yeah.
When I took over, got rid of Bruce. The point of house was a pretty popular choice for the most part. Clean the stadium up for us a bit. Today, taking the signs down and Mickey Quinn's tweet about how they've reached out to him to try and get a communication and a bit of kind of going with old players. So you can bet a bottom dollar if he's had it. And Mickey Quinn was a brilliant player for us, don't get us wrong. Likes of David Kelly's probably had it, Shearer, Keegan, the big ones who have been kind of ostracised now, cast by the club under Ashley will have had that, so it could be the start. Another PR thing, it's just something that's so easy for them to do, but it's quite exciting as a fan to think, these people are going to be like representing like under the Newcastle umbrella again instead of being on the outside looking in, like, you know.
I think as well with that is that them will then bring positivity
Yep.
through in their little environments and their own social media, whereas obviously with it being negative, it's so easy to be negative.
Yes.
And fans will just be brainwashed by what Mickey Quinn says, for example. But if they all start, together, isn't it? Rafa used to say it all the time.
Building bridges. Somebody just said there.
Good. Really
I
good.
thought it was in reference
Good
to
point.
Michael Bridges being at the game with
Building bridges.
Jason Donovan at the weekend.
Jason Donovan, there's a thing. Now, do you reckon he's
Been a couple of times.
He's misses his Newcastle fan.
Because he had the scarf, the keep that top scarf. Now I was thinking, like, do you reckon
Yeah.
he's been like following because Kylie's back in Australia now, isn't she? Do you reckon he moved over here in the early 90s? And like he was at like maybe it was a Tranmere game.
Big fan of the entertainers.
The 6-6 draw against Tranmere in his Zenith Data Systems Cup, and I was like, right, that's it.
So
Pie Kylie off.
I'll end on this question just on the back of what you just said there, Bessie. I'll come straight back to you.
Tranmere.
What?
The Tranmere game in his Zenith got beat on penalties.
Wait, what?
John Aldridge scored a hat trick.
What the hell? What?
The Tranmere game in his Zenith, that was the last thing I said.
I remember getting beat off Oxford at home in the cup
the
on
players.
an
So
awful midweek.
About the players and obviously building bridges with ex-players. Which one player do you want to see back first?
First.
Ooh.
God, there's so many, isn't there? Les.
Surprising. I thought you were going to say Philip Albert, to be honest.
Save your
Good luck.
Yeah, man.
Good luck getting a hold of him, I tell you.
Teed that up perfectly.
Good luck getting a hold of him.
That was quite good. That was.
Thank you. Good.
So who was yours, Ferdinand?
Sorry,
Les.
Who's yours, Mark?
I'd like to see Les from a purely looking back with a bit of nostalgia. You just mentioned him there, David Kelly.
Scored
Just
hat-trick on Italy.
that. Well, I'm going back before that. The other game against
You've got to look at
Leicester.
I think we've got to ignore the fact of of Shearer and that, because Shearer does go to the games. He's got a box and stuff, so you do see him at the ground.
Yeah,
He was at the Heat on
Yeah,
Friday as
he
well.
was. Who for you, Degger?
The person who I would love, but it can't happen for obvious reasons, is Peter Beardsley. I loved him. I have to be honest, I did, and I would love to see him back involved, but I appreciate that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah.
I
absolutely
love Peter Beardsley.
Absolutely love him. Did you say Les Ferdinand? Yeah. You said Les, didn't you?
David Kelly.
Sorry,
definitely
David
of the modern era. Ferdinand would be the one.
He's been gone 24 years. Quarter of a century.
No, you're not going to invite Lee Boyer back though, are you?
Hopefully not.
Well, he might be there as a manager. Is he still? He's not at Charlton now, is he? Oh, yes.
It's a tough one because I think
Denver.
I would
He's
like.
retired now, isn't he?
I didn't know. You see
Hey, just get your tape back.
Him and Pappies.
Mine's Jonas, just for the
Jonas.
statement.
Ah,
of
no,
it.
there's a
That'd be
shout.
nice
There's
as well,
a really
wouldn't
good
Just for the
shout like that.
statement, like
Get Ryan to give him a ring.
they haven't even been in touch with Ryan. I've been texting him today. they haven't called Ryan Taylor yet.
They will do you.
So he's too modern.
Did you see the big crack that we had?
Oh, I saw that.
So
like,
Keegan
that was
doesn't
good,
count now because he's too big, and he
Keegan doesn't count.
doesn't count.
He's
I
only
get that,
5'6"
So
something.
we're trying to think a bit like
He's like
Australia
little.
here, like out of the box.
That's why I'm saying David Kelly, just because of without that goal, we could have been
That was a huge,
gone.
Also, the FA Cup. Not get the FA Cup back as a.
Hopefully, one
Has it
day.
been stolen again? Oh, no, that was the World Cup, wasn't it?
Pickles a dog,
Pickles.
I
We're going to end it on this one. We'll talk about. We'll do previews and all sorts for the cup game, so we'll sort that at some point. You got a player yet? You look really shocked when I ask you that question again.
Yeah, because the other player I love was Rob Lee, but I don't know if Rob Lee's always been all right anyway.
Rob
hasn't he?
Lee was there.
Lee was
there.
there.
Yeah, he was there the other
Yeah.
week, so it doesn't really
The
count
young one
again.
was there
does
as
it?
well, they were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Lots
love
of people
Rob Lee.
shout-
What about David Ginola when he comes out the castle as the king of the castle and he comes back and shows off his trophy?
I was going to say Ginola, but I put him in the bracket of Yashiras, and that I did, to be honest. Because I even put Ferdinand there, to be fair. But then again, Ferdinand's he's director of football, isn't he? At QPR. So getting him to as an after, well, it could happen, couldn't it? Really, I guess he did a thing, didn't he? For NUFC fan.
I'll give you one. I'll let you have this one for free. Shea Given.
I was thinking this. I
Yeah,
was thinking
Shea
this year,
would be
given
good,
yeah. I was thinking this year.
Also,
I couldn't seem to get once I got
Shea
Peter
for David
Beardsley.
Batty if anybody can find him, because he just drops off the radar, doesn't he?
Batty, God,
Get Will Fox back.
Obviously, this last few weeks has been the 10th anniversary of Gary Speed passing away, and I think that was the last time David Batty was seen in public, because he did a thing at Elland Road with Stratton and Gary McAllister, laying the wreath and all that, because obviously they were in the team that won the league in '92. So yeah, David Batty I'd love, because I've always liked David Batty. I mean, you've got him on the programme there, taking the knee, like 25 years before that was even a thing.
Trendsetter.
Totally. Long sleeves as well. Long sleeves.
Right. I'm calling it.
Mate, that's just them three there, just brilliantly.
Calling it a night. Thank you, guys. This one's gone on for a while. Longer than an hour.
Yeah, I could have went for an hour, maybe.
Yeah,
I could have done quite happy with
could
that.
have.
I don't know about that.
But
We
I'm
didn't even
sat-
talk about the game hardly either.
Well, that was all done. I'm sat here smelling his fart all night.
Oh, you thought?
Was that you?
No.
Wasn't
Was
me.
it you?
No.
Somebody smells like shit.
It's because he shit himself on his way.
No, I
in.
didn't. I checked my duds and I was all right.
I thought it was just you, because obviously you were a bit late because of your toilet break.
No, I was fine. I expelled all of the badness from my body when I was in there.
One is does.
I've never smelled the
Unless
thing.
they've done that much damage in there. It's like Fern Gully, and it's just kind of creeping along the corridor.
By saying that
Big brown beast.
you've had the COVID, so you might still be without your sense of smell, and you just don't know you've done it.
I think 2 years. I think I was the first person in the country to have it. Or third, I was the third person in my house, but yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, everybody. Once again, as always, if you do want to get your likes in, that helps us out massively. Become a subscriber to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Listen back to all this on audio. You don't get the same sort of stuff as audio, because you won't get to see Mark's lovely webcam face. Thank you, Callum, for sharing your filthy thoughts on Twitter today.
It was very niche stuff, a lot of that. I thought.
So if you want some inside jokes, get in the Telegram group, get involved, and we're entertaining in there. Thank you very much. See you later. Enjoy your night.
Take care.